There was a day I realized something that changed how I built everything after. I was the smartest person in the room. And that was the problem. Not because being smart is bad, because when you're the smartest person in the room, you become the answer to every question, the solution to every problem, the decision behind every move, and the business stops the moment you leave the room. That day I stopped trying to be the smartest and started building something smarter than me. Stay until the end of this video, because I'm going to tell you exactly what I built instead and why it outperformed everything I could have done alone. This is the shift nobody talks about, because admitting it requires a kind of honesty most operators aren't ready for. For years, I operated like most people do. I was faster than my team, more experienced, better at solving problems. So naturally, everything came to me and I let it because it felt good. Being needed feels like value. Being the answer feels like leadership. It took me longer than I want to admit to understand that it was neither. It was a bottleneck wearing a cape. Every time I solved a problem personally, I robbed my team of the chance to build the skill. Every time I made a decision alone, I created a dependency that would cost me later. Every time I was the smartest person in the room, I made the room smaller. Because nobody grows in the shadow of someone who already has all the answers. If you've ever felt that your team just doesn't get it the way you do, subscribe right now, because that feeling is exactly what this channel is built to challenge. One layer every week. Now let me tell you what I built when I finally got out of the way. The shift wasn't about hiring better people. I had good people. The shift was about building the infrastructure that made good people great. The first thing I did was document every answer I had in my head. Every standard, every decision framework, every response to the situations that kept coming up. Not because I was leaving, because I wanted my thinking to exist beyond me. I wanted the intelligence of the system to exceed my own availability. That's a different goal than most operators have. Most operators want to be needed. I want it to be optional. Not because I didn't care, because I cared enough to build something that could outlast my best days. The second thing I did was stop answering questions, not ignoring them, redirecting them. Every time someone came to me with a question, I asked them first, what does the process say? What does the framework say? What would you do if I wasn't here? 90% of the time they already knew the answer. They just needed permission to trust themselves. The third thing I did was the hardest. I let things be done differently than I would do them. Not worse. Differently, and I had to learn that differently isn't wrong. It's just not me. And the business didn't need me, it needed results. Those are not the same thing. 6 months after I made that shift, something strange happened. The business got better, not because I was doing more, because I was doing less. The team started solving problems I used to solve for them. The quality stayed consistent without my constant review. Clients reported better experiences than when I was personally involved in everything. I remember sitting one afternoon realizing I hadn't been interrupted in 3 hours. 3 hours of uninterrupted thinking for someone who used to get interrupted every 20 minutes. That felt like a different life. It was a different life, built on a different infrastructure, one where I was no longer the ceiling of what was possible. The system was, and systems don't have the same ceiling I do. Here's what I want you to take from this. Being the smartest person in the room is not a leadership position, it's a liability. The moment you become the answer to everything, you become the limit of everything. Real leadership is building something smarter than you, more consistent than you, more available than you, a system that carries your best thinking into every situation, whether you're there or not. Ask yourself this honestly. Are you building something smarter than you, or are you making yourself indispensable in a way that quietly limits everything you're trying to build? The answer to that question is worth sitting with. The full framework is free at patricksystems.com. It's where operators go when they're ready to build something bigger than themselves. patricksystems.com. And if this hit something real, subscribe. One honest conversation every week. No theory, just what I actually learned building this the hard way. See you next week.